Okay, so as a reminder, you are going to run the code, analyze the code, and then you are going to answer the questions in the assignment panel about that code. Once you finish, go ahead and hit submit and go back to the assignment page so that I can see you're ready to move on. And as you go through the questions, you might want to look back at the code, even run it again, just to make sure. But when you're done, make sure you hit submit and go back to the assignment panel so I can see you are ready to go on. Okay. Leonelle, I can't tell her. Are you done? Okay, thank you. So what am I looking at? All right, I'm gonna open up the lesson check. And then as soon as you're done with that, go back to the assignment page and I'll go over the planning with you. more that are working on the lesson check. As soon as you're done, go make sure you hit submit and go back to the assignment page. All right, did you finish, Victor? No, okay. Sorry, not trying to rush you, just checking. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go on to the planning for the dream screen activity. Before I go on, I do want to remind you that you are going to have a test over this part of Unit 3 that you've done, 3.1 through 3.4. And when you are done with your test, the rest of the period will be spent you either catching up on things that you have not done or fixing a couple of project grades that were not finished or not working correctly. So you should be able to see whether that is you or not in the grade book, okay? So with Dream Screen, we're going to use graphics to envision an app or game that we'd like to make or use. So imagine that you're pitching an app or game idea to investors, and you're asked to impress them by creating a mock screenshot of what the final app will look like. How would you create this screenshot? You could code just the parts of the program that make graphics appear on screen. You could also use an image editing program. Well, you won't have access to Photoshop in here, but there is Photopea.com, which is very similar to Photoshop that would do that. What do you think would be most important to show off? How could you make it impressive so that just by a standalone screenshot, no animation, no coding other than putting the code on the screen, how could you make that impressive? Show one of the what? Yeah. Yeah. So think about some of your favorite games that you play, and why are they your favorite? Is it simply because of the action and the thrill it provides? Is it because they're nice bright colors that make you feel happy? Is there a character in there? I mean, really think about those sorts of things. And think about how you can do the same thing on this screen. Okay, so you would probably want to show the most exciting or unique part of the app. So, for instance, if I was going back to my favorite video game, Miss Pac-Man, I would have on the screen, I would have some of the dots eaten already. I would definitely have one of the big power dots eaten, so that at that time that I capture the screenshot, I would have the ghost turning colors and I would have the fruit dancing around, so that it would show that it was in like the power mode, instead of just at the beginning, because that would be a little bit more exciting and intriguing to somebody who is maybe thinking of investing in my game. Okay. What parts of the app would you need to design before making the screenshot? Think about that. What are all of the objects, all of the sprites that you would need? So for Miss Pac-Man, I'd obviously need the maze background. I'd need all the small dots. I'd need some big dots. I'd need the Miss Pac-Man herself, the different fruits, the different ghosts. And remember, if you've ever played Miss Pac-Man or seen Miss Pac-Man, you have the ghosts that are one color. I shouldn't say one color. They're actually different colors when they can attack you. But when you can attack them, they all turn, I believe it's a royal blue color, if I'm not mistaken. At least during one level of it, it is. It's been a while since I played it. So those would all be objects, all sprites that I would need to create in order to get that screenshot. Okay? We don't need to figure out exactly how it works or the complete flow of everything the user goes through, as long as you're confident that it'll work in some way. So I do want you to think about that. Make sure you're not trying to construct a game that there's no chance in the world that you would come up with the code to run it, okay? It needs to be a doable game with what you know in Python at this point. So I want you to think about that too. We're going to use code to envision a screenshot of an app or game you'd like to make, okay? So if you do this, what do you think the input is? Anyone else? We got one guess for window. Remember, the input is what the user can put in. It's what the user can put in to be interactive. Oh, well, okay, so if you were making a game, yes, but remember that this is just a screenshot of a portion of your game. That's all this is going to be, a screenshot of a portion of your game. Huh? Okay. Okay, so if there were multiple screenshots, yes, a way to move on to the next one. However, for what you are doing, you are just having one screenshot. So would there be any input at all? No, because you're not getting any user input. You're not having any user interaction with this at all. It is simply going to be a still, flat picture that you are creating that shows your investor what your game will look like at some point during the process of playing it. Now, what is the output? What does the user get? Gets a screenshot. They get to see what it looks like. So if we're thinking about this Well, let's actually, because you're only doing one screenshot, so you have to think about like the point in the game where what you're gonna design. But let's start from the beginning and think of all the possible sprites or objects that could be added. So I'm gonna start with a title, a text label with the title. What else could be added? Say that again. A background, yep. Instructions, is that what you said? What did you say? Oh, you said instructions. Sorry. What did you say? Yeah, characters, whatever your characters or your players are, or even the enemies, because like with Miss Pac-Man, even though I'm controlling Miss Pac-Man, there are enemies that are floating around, so I have to have those characters as well. Anything else? How would you determine a winner? Score, lives, time running out, any or all of those things might need to be included. Okay. Maybe if it's a 2 or more person game, maybe a username for those players. Give them a way that they can put in a username so that later on a high score could be recorded. That sort of thing. Okay. And this is what you're going to need to do. You are going to display all of this in one window. Okay. You need to have a background image or a fill color. And again, remember that your goal is to actually create something that is going to attract the investor. So while I'm not saying that a solid fill color can't attract an investor, it could. But I don't want you to try to take the easy way out. I want you to try to plan this well so that you get something worthwhile. You need to have a title for your game, for your app. Center it horizontally. That doesn't mean vertically. That means horizontally, left to right. Have it in the center of the screen. 2 or more buttons that have sprites and text. 2 or more buttons. So those buttons could be a way for them to add PowerPoints. It could be add a life, buy a life. There's all sorts of things it could be. And then 2 or more other sprites with or labels. So those are your minimum requirements there. Okay. I forgot this one. Also, you need to use your sprites, text labels, and graphics window instance from the TS app library. Okay. So you are going to use code to put these objects in your window. It's just you're not going to code them doing anything just yet. Okay? Which means you've got alignment to think about, XY position to think about, et cetera, et cetera. So things that you need to plan for here first. And because of the graphical nature of this, if you want to plan it on paper as opposed to on here, that's fine, but you do want to plan, okay? So what do you need to do before adding graphics to the window? Think about that plan. What coding concepts do you need for this? And then write a plan for how you are constructing it. And that's where it says circle your first milestone. When we talk about program or project management, there's milestones along the way where you hit a big target, hit a big goal. That's what a milestone would be. So what would your first milestone be in doing this? Okay. And then you are going to share how you structured your program. And I'm going to go back. Well, I'm going to pull that up again. The requirements are 2 pages, so you'll have to get it on the next one. I'm going to open this up. You have a solution, a run solution, so you can see an example. Okay, Code Connect, new program, share program. Look, you can see nothing works, right? But that is just a basic solution of it. You do have, again, no input. Your output is a screenshot. Your requirements are listed, over in the assignment panel. You do have challenges as well that can, if you finish fast, can make it better. Remember also that you have Code Assist and you have TS App down at the bottom of this to where you can see codes for graphics, etc., all down here. Okay? Questions before you guys begin? All right, let's go ahead and get started on that then. I will leave those requirements up here so that you can see them.